Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be looking at the states of Nebraska and Maine and taking a look at them for, I believe, part 6 of our redistricting series. So first of all, I am morphing these states together for a few reasons, mostly because they're kind of smaller states that would be not really that interesting to look at individually, and because they use the same proportional allocation system in the Electoral College. So we're just going to be doing that. We're started off with Nebraska. I don't know why I chose to start off with Nebraska. In retrospect, I probably should have done Maine first because it comes first in the alphabet. It is more competitive, but whatever. If you want to see Maine, skip to the end or skip to the middle of the video. So let's get started with taking a look at the current congressional map. So right now, the districts in Nebraska are pretty fair. So first of all, the data set that I'm using, which is composite 2012-2018, is pretty bad. I'd recommend trying to find a data set that kind of represents the partisanship of the state better. So you can kind of mess around with these how you want, but the best you're probably going to get is Governor 2018, although that data set does overestimate Democrats by a little bit. But it's not really a problem, seeing as it's the closest you're going to get to finding an accurate data set, mostly because the second district has been trying to the Democratic Party in recent years, as is the first, but to a lesser extent. So in the 2018 governor election, it was won by the Republican candidate. I believe Pete Ricketts beat Bob Christ here by 11, or nearly 12%, and then the second district was the most competitive, and it was a district the Democrats won by around a point. Obviously, the third district was very Republican. So this data set might be underestimating the Democrats a little bit in the second district because Biden won it by 7, but I think he lost the first district by more than Christ, the Democrat, in the 2018 governor race. So I did actually make a really ridiculous map of what's the most Democratic map I can kind of get it in this state. So it I believe it includes all but one Democratic precinct, and it's this narrow Democratic precinct up here that actually I think that it's a precinct that leans Democrat, but the turnout rate from Native Americans that make the district a Democratic leaning district are terrible. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be bothered with it. But I did include these Democratic precincts up here, this predominantly Hispanic area. Then we of course have the Native American reservation over here that was actually part of the only county that John Kerry won, Thurston County. And then you have most of Omaha, the blue parts of Omaha. At least there are a couple blue precincts I left out, but whatever. Lincoln, the blue parts of Lincoln, some blue precincts down here. Then Kearney, I believe there's a singular blue precinct in Kearney. There's another blue precinct over here, which was a majority Hispanic precinct. And then the infamous on Twitter, everyone loves to talk about the one Democratic precinct in Scotts Bluff. Or actually, there are two, but one is significantly more Democratic than the other. So yeah, just thought I'd take a look at that. And then we are going to take a look at this mass partisanship. So again, the second district is very is the most Democratic it gets. I'm actually going to turn on 2018 data set. I think that might make it safe if I'm not mistaken. No, it does not. But yeah, so the first district very safe, as is the third, mostly because you're just taking the Democratic areas away from these voters. And yeah, so this district would be around a 20-point Democratic district. So this is a map that if the Democrats held all the power in the redistricting, that could happen, but it's definitely not going to happen because it's terrible and looks gerrymandered. So now going over to this map, which I have yet to fill out, we're going to be taking a look at what the Republicans could do to win Nebraska, to win all 3 seats in Nebraska pretty comfortably. So I'm just going to mess around with this a little bit. So you kind of see that Douglas County is, for the most part, it's too big to just kind of pack it into. It's too big to just kind of split all of, grab all of Douglas County and split it into a district. I mean, you could put all of Douglas County in a Republican leaning district, but it's not as safe as it should be. So we're going to kind of be isolating the Lincoln or the Omaha area from the other Democratic areas. There's also a map that I made a very long time ago. I think it was one of the first maps I made with this application that essentially it allowed me to what I did was I kind of just grabbed all of Lincoln and all of Omaha and made it like a D+15 district which you can do without looking terrible. And then of course I made the other terrible district that is just super Democratic, the one that kind of is just a snake district. So yeah, But for the most part, this district's probably just going to be like in R plus 15 district. I kind of grabbed that last part out of there, and then I'm just going to add a few counties up here that would make this district have a good enough population deviation. And yeah, these counties out here are very, very they're very, very sparsely populated. So you're gonna have to get a few of them actually. Try to find a good. Here, this will work. So this district, the first district would be, I'm guessing R plus 22 or something like that. Yeah, it's basically R plus 21. So yeah, now we've kind of done the hard part, which is cracking Omaha. You still have like a lot of Omaha down here, but we did split it, and the rest of Douglas County, 175,000 people in Douglas County. And you say Blue County, we can just kind of drag this down here. The issue is that you're going to have to kind of separate it from Lancaster County, which is the other Democratic. It's the only other county in the state that Joe Biden won. So it is going to look pretty ugly, but you're going to have to kind of loop in all of Lancaster with these blood red rural areas, and I'm just going to try to have to take this out as far as I can. Again, this district is certainly not pretty, but it does serve its purpose. And in fact, I think I'm going to actually be able to make a map where all these districts would be safe by DRA standards. By my standards, a district over 12% for either party would be safe. So this district right here, second district, again, very safe for the Republican Party. They would win it. The 2018 governor race, Pete Ricketts would have won it by around 20.5%. And then we can just kind of fill in the rest of the map by county for the third district, which, again, it's probably going to be the most Republican out of these all, but I could be wrong. We're going to have to see. It does not really crack. We don't really crack, as you can see, we don't really crack Lincoln at all, mostly because it's smaller than Omaha, and there's, less Democrats there, but we definitely do crack the Omaha. So these districts are actually pretty representative of Nebraska as a whole. These are all, districts that go red by around 20%, and they're all contiguous. There's not really population deviation, and again, the second district probably looks the worst. And then you have, the first looks okay. Actually, it's a pretty good district because it does represent the partisanship of the state as a whole. But the third kind, if you just see it like that fist, just reach out and grab Lincoln. I don't know. I forgot the name of the city for a second. And then the second just reach all the way down here. Ideally, I guess I could try to crack Lincoln, but that would be more complicated than necessary when you have a map that is not gerrymandered enough for the courts to overturn it, really, and would be a pretty safe map for the Republicans. I don't think there's a data set where any of these. Oh no, I was ignoring. Actually, all these would be likely interesting. So there was a data set because I thought I was using the other one, but yeah. This was the year that the Republicans won the governorship by 18%. So, unless the Democrats ran someone who was capable of basically winning statewide in Nebraska, like someone who would, if they were statewide, bring it within one or something, they would not be able to flip any of these districts. So, yeah. So that's it for the the Republican gerrymander of Nebraska, for Democratic gerrymander. Now, for the safe map, or for the fair map, I don't know why I said the safe map. I'm going to try to, so here's my goal. So I think that we should have, basically, pretty much, I think that there should be a district that is hyper competitive, because, look, the Democrats in Nebraska, they're only, on average, they get around 40% of the vote. So that kind of does translate to them getting maybe one district if they're lucky. But again, I am kind of using a flawed data set, so I'm not sure how to draw this map. But realistically, they should probably be winning around one of these districts if we're doing an gerrymandered map. But this district that I just drew right here is very, very competitive. It could flip in an instant. So that's the competitive district. I'm also going to try to put Sarpy and Lancaster County together, because these are areas that usually vote similarly and have, I guess, similar constituencies. So the district might be a little less red than I would like, but that doesn't really matter. And so I think we're gonna get rid of these precincts out here. Grab that. Oh, okay, so that county is bigger than I thought, but whatever. So This district might, be a little competitive, but not realistically. The Democrats wouldn't win it unless, like I said in the previous segment, unless they were to find a candidate who is capable of winning statewide. If you translate the results of the district to statewide, so the third district will be a little wonky in that it could be a little competitive, but realistically speaking, it would not flip. So, yeah, and I believe that I'm using the 2018 governor race data set. So we're going to have to see that probably overestimates Republicans by a little bit, but it's the best data set you can find. So here you go. It's actually pretty similar to the current map. Nothing really changes because the current map is, in my opinion, a pretty solid map. You have a safe Republican district, a district that is 99% Republican, then a competitive district. They're all contiguous. So yeah, there's a little bit of a population deviation, but I don't. Whoa, hold on. Whoa, there are straight precincts. I need to find these unassigned precincts. Hold on. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So what I have to do is I'm just gonna have to grab these precincts with this third district, and there we go. So yeah, then I have to reassign them to this district out here, which will take literally 2 seconds. Although it's gonna lag the map because of the data set that I have on, because of the overlay that I have on. Excuse me. Let's just see if I can do this as quickly as possible, and yeah, that'll work. Okay, so that's what the map would look like. It does get a little laggy sometimes when you try to edit the map when it has the borders on, but there we go. So fix the population deviation, and there you have it. So you have the fair map of Nebraska. Now, with that being said, we're going to move on to the state of Maine. So this is the current congressional map of Maine, and again, I don't really like the data set I'm using. I mean, the first district is more Democratic than this gives it credit for, and the second district is more Republican than it gives it credit for. So I'm trying to find a better data set but I'm kind of struggling to do that. Because the second district should really be like a lead. I mean, maybe that. Whoa, oops, no, we do not want to do that. Wait, what happened? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess using 2016 presidential data could be interesting, but not really. Okay, so I guess I'll just use the composite data set, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And, of course, the population deviation for the current map is not really that good, mostly because the second district has 14,000 less people, which is a big population deviation. It's a 4% population deviation, in fact. So, yeah. Again, obviously no districts are majority-minority. In fact, they're both around 95% white. But the notable difference is that the second district is more rural, more working class than the first district. So, yeah. Now, we're going to make a Democratic gerrymander of Maine first. And Maine's a weird state to redistrict, mostly because there's only 2 districts, and because we have kind of these precincts get pretty big down here. Like, you have precincts that are like 5,000 to 7,000 people, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't really like big precincts in general. I think they're bad for voter turnout, and they are bad for redistricting, which obviously is what we really care about here. So I'm going to try to make both these districts Democratic leaning, although it's gerrymandering a state that has only 2 districts is very, very wacky. So, yeah. So, this district's going to be more competitive than the other, I believe. So I'm going to have to get rid of some of this. I don't like these river precincts. Like, there's like a precinct that, like, right here. It's just a big river in the middle of the state that really, really makes it incredibly annoying to touch, kind of adjust what we have in the middle of the state. But that shouldn't really matter right now because it's going to be completely embedded in the right now what looks to be the first district. So yeah, and then I guess just for fun, I'm just going to try to add some more areas to this right here, and then I'm going to take off one precinct that would ideally be around 3,000 people. I don't really want to edit this recording too much, so I'm going to include some of these parts of me. Just here we go. Well, I guess that'll work. So this first district is going to be a little smaller than the second district, but whatever. So then the rest of the state, I believe, should be pretty democratic. Yeah. So we do have a map that would be won by the Democrats, I believe, pretty consistently. Both these districts would be, in fact, I think, lean D to likely D. I mean, the first district would be D plus 8, the second would be D plus 8 as well. So it's a pretty solid map. We can kind of play around data sets. Hillary Clinton, I think she would have probably won both of these, but I think the first would have been significantly closer than the second, although I could be wrong. No, yeah, she would have won both of these. So, and in fact, it would be impossible for the Republicans to win both of these unless they actually won statewide. So, and unless you're telling me that you think that a Republican can win statewide in Maine, realistically, I don't think it would happen. So, yeah, in fact, and I think these districts would actually probably vote the same way most of the time. I think, yeah. So, the second district a little more Democratic than the first district, but with that being said, we should move on to this next map. These Maine maps have been kind of a breeze that we can just kind of mess around with. We have so now, I'll see two maps. I'll make two maps just for fun. And the first map is going to be me trying to make a district as Republican as possible. The second map is going to be me trying to make districts as competitive as possible. So this district right here is a Republican leaning district, but we can add in some of these southern, more Republican precincts to just see what we can do and just actually try to make a district kind of like what's going on in Montana with what a lot of Democrats are talking about, and just try to make a district that only uses basically every Republican precinct. No, we're probably not going to reach everyone, mostly because a couple of them are isolated and it would just look terrible if we did so. But what we can do is kind of just grab these precincts over here. So this district, again, a little big right now. So what we're going to have to do is kind of go up the shoreline right here, and we have a collection of Democratic precincts up here that we can eliminate from the district, actually, especially these over here, and whatever city this is. I really need to touch up or to brush up with my Maine geography, because I am kind of forgetting a lot of these cities. Like, I only really know Portland and Augusta. So yeah, and then we can eliminate one more of these precincts. So yeah, that should do it. This first district, again, a little big, but I think it should work with the deviation, although if it doesn't, it really doesn't matter because the current map is atrocious. So yeah, so this first district, again, obviously the second district will be stronger for the party that it's designated to than the first, but that's Maine for you. Maine is a Democratic leaning state. The population deviation is within the 0.75% threshold tolerated by the courts. And this first district would be around R+6. I think Trump would have probably carried it by a safe margin, if I'm being completely honest here. He would have won it by 15, which is pretty interesting. 2018 Senate race, these are both safe Republican because of the data set. Governor race, I think LePage probably would have won the first by a pretty good margin. Yeah, that's what I expected. It gets a little close when you factor in Obama's 2012 wins, but it's not really an issue for the Republican Party, considering that they've been gaining in this first district. The big question is whether Jared Golden could realistically win re-election here. So, yeah, now taking a look, lastly, actually, we should, I think this will be the Republican gerrymander. I'm actually not going to make two maps, although, yeah. So, taking a look at our fair map, a fair map of Maine is weird because there's only two districts, but I think that the Democratic gerrymander is actually pretty fair, but I think you could try to make it look a little better where you don't split as many counties, and to try to just not split as many counties as possible. So we're going to do that right now. Whoops. Okay. So what we could do is just have this district right here be Democratic leaning, then take away some of these precincts. Again, because of the population deviation. Turn on partisan lean, take away some of these precincts. I guess I'll just take away these ones down here. So I think that the first district is a district that would probably be more Democratic leaning. The second, I think, would be ultra competitive, and yeah, it would be Democratic leaning. So I think this is actually a pretty good map. I mean, both districts would be Democratic leaning, but the second district, the Democrats would have to run more of a rural populist, someone like Jared Golden. I think Golden would definitely hold on currently, but it's cool to see, mostly because it would be two different types of Democrats. Like Shelley Pingree, I believe, is the representative for the first district. She'd probably win that easily, but the second district would be a toss-up district. So I think this is going to be my fair map of Maine. And yeah, so yeah, that'll do it. I've been saying way too much this video, but if you enjoyed, please do leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.